Okay, Willow Forms Instructional. We're going to do Palgwe Ochung, the 5th Palgwe Form. I still believe that this is the most difficult Palgwe form. While the Taiguk forms progress in a way that's systematic, the Palgwe forms don't always progress that way. So in my mind, the 5th form is actually the most difficult form to perform. So from your perspective. 준비, jet, pinye. 준비. Now you're going to begin the form, you actually step back as you execute a scissors block, which you'll see better from the other two perspectives. Then you're going to look to the left, and you're going to do a 90-degree turn to the left into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide backwards into a back stance with a push block. Step forward into a front stance and punch. Then you're going to do that same sequence to the other side. You're going to do a 180-degree turn to the right, into a back stance with a low double pseudo. You're going to slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. You're going to slide forward into a back stance, or slide backwards into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. Then you're going to do a 90-degree turn to the left into a front stance with a scissors block. And then you're going to step forward as you do an assisted outside middle block. You're going to step forward as you do an assisted outside middle block. And you're going to step forward and do a spear hand and kiai. Up. Then you're going to do a 270-degree turn. And this is why we're reshooting this video, is this is not a back stance. It is actually a front stance with an outside middle block. Double punch. Then you're going to pull the foot in next to the foot on the floor and go into a crane stance. Execute a side trophy kick. Come back down into a front stance. Elbow smash. Then you're going to slide into a back stance with a double pseudo. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. You're in a front stance with an outside middle block. Double punch. Pull into a crane stance. Execute a trophy kick. Elbow smash. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Now you're going to do a 90-degree turn to the left again. Scissors block. Now you're going to step into a back stance, doing a low assisted block. Slide forward into a back stance, doing a low assisted block. Slide forward into a front stance, punch kiai. Up. Now it just ends like it started. 270-degree turn into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. 180-degree turn to the right into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Step forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward, punch. Hold it for a count of 1, 2. Be jet, pinye. All right, so now from a side perspective. So again, this is a little bit different in that you slide backwards into a front stance with a scissors block. Then we do a 90-degree turn to the left with a low pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. 180-degree turn to the other side into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide backwards into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. A 90-degree turn to the left with a scissors block. Then you're going to step and you're going to do an assisted outside middle block. Step forward into a front stance, do an assisted outside middle block. Step forward into a spear hand kiai. Up. Now you're going to do a 270-degree turn into a front stance with an outside middle block. Double punch. Pull the foot in for a crane stance. Trophy kick. Elbow smash. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Same thing to the other side. Outside middle block in a front stance. Double punch. Come back into a crane stance, trophy kick, elbow smash, slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. 90-degree turn to the left, we're going to do a scissors block. Then we're going to slide forward into a back stance with a low assisted block. Slide forward into a back stance with a low assisted block. Slide forward into a front stance, punch, ki. Up. And then you just finish it like you started. 270-degree turn into a back stance with a middle double, low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Step back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. 180-degree turn the other side into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Step back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. Be hit and yay. All right. Last perspective from the judge's perspective. You're the judge. Be hit and yay. So you're going to step back as you execute a scissors block. Then you're going to do a 90-degree turn to the left, into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Step back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. 180-degree turn to the right, and you're going to do a low double pseudo and a back stance. Slide forward into a back stance, middle double pseudo. Step back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into front stance, regular punch. 90-degree turn to the left into a front stance with a scissors block. Slide forward into a front stance with an assisted outside middle block. Slide forward into a front stance with an assisted outside middle block. Step forward into a front stance, spear hand ki. Hup! 270-degree turn into a front stance with an outside middle block. Double punch. Come back into a crane technique. Trophy kick. Elbow smash, slide forward into a back stance, middle double pseudo. Same thing to the other side, 180-degree turn to the right, into a front stance with an outside middle block, double punch, come up into a crane stance, trophy kick, elbow smash, slide forward into a back stance, middle double pseudo. 90-degree turn to the left, scissors block. Slide forward into a back stance with an assisted low block. Slide forward into a back stance with an assisted low block. Slide forward into a front stance, punch ki. Hup! 270-degree turn into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Slide back into a back stance with a push block. Slide forward into a front stance, regular punch. 270-degree turn into a back stance with a low double pseudo. So you can do it, or 180-degree turn to the right into a back stance with a low double pseudo. Slide forward into a back stance with a middle double pseudo. Step back into a back stance with a push block. Step forward into a front stance, punch. Hold for a count of 1, 2. Be hit, yay. As I said, this is one of the more difficult forms I find for some of the more advanced students. But if you stick with it, this is a very strong form. So go practice.